Welcome to this episode. In this episode called One Key Way to Know If You're Choosing Alignment, I'm talking about alignment, or at least a little bit about alignment. So I'm really glad you're here on this ride today, listening to this or watching this, because it's all then about choice and decision making and tuning into how we feel that guides us into making aligned choices. Now, notice what I said. I said how you feel, not how you think. And that is something we're going to talk about a little more, because the distinction between feeling and thinking is really key when it comes to anything with your frequency, anything with being aware of what your soul is guiding you to know and what your path is that your soul is nudging you to. If you've heard me talk about this before, if we go back to remembering what episode it even is, I think it's episode 17, Buyer's Remorse, where basically there are no right or wrong choices. Basically, everything is your path. It's just a matter of what you're doing with it, the frequency and energy you're in. That's a great one to go back and listen to, because it'll dovetail into this. But I was thinking about this today because it's fun. I'm really celebrating myself. Yay, pass on the back, celebrating myself, because I went for a run today. The first time in, honestly, 4 years, right? My daughter's coming up on 3, okay, pregnancy, so probably about 4 years, which is kind of crazy in a way, because for essentially my entire life, I've been running. Like, I used to run long distance and medium distance and all kinds of things. Sorry guys, super itchy nose today. Just it's been a little windy. And so running, like, okay, natural. And it was so exciting. This morning I got up, I'd done yesterday some weights and some other workout, and my body was feeling fatigued. The muscles, they felt tired, they felt sore. And then, of course, yesterday I did a ton of weeding, cleaning up weeds out of the driveway. And so my hammies were like, oh my gosh. So I got up this morning and I'm like, what do I want to do for my workout? And I didn't feel like doing my regular workout. And the first thing that popped into my head, snap, was, Teal, go for a run. Put my daughter in the stroller, go for a run. And I'm like, yes. And I immediately put it into action. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I didn't know how. Like, this isn't something I'd ever pre-planned, because honestly, I'd had resistance around going running as a mom now with a toddler for a long time, because it just didn't seem to work with how I was doing things with my toddler and breakfast and getting dressed and all the things, because I like to exercise first thing in the morning. And for us, the most important thing first thing in the morning is making sure our kiddo gets breakfast, because she's hungry even when she doesn't say it. And oh, we got then all the cranky pants. Oh, like, how does this work? But I wasn't even there in the thoughts of, well, how do I go for a run? It was just the idea came into my head, go for a run. And immediately my emotions were like, yes, this sounds fun. I feel joyful about this. I feel good about this. I felt peaceful about this. And without batting an eye, without missing a step, without a blink, boom, I started executing. I went and told my daughter, I'm like, hey, we're going to do something different this morning. I'm going to make you a little breakfast, have a few bites. We're going to get you dressed. You don't have to brush your teeth or anything yet. Just get dressed. Mom's going to put on running clothes. We're going to go for it in the stroller. And it's going to be really fun. You get to go fast in the stroller. And yay, super happy. My daughter was thrilled. And it worked great. The run felt good. For all of you who are mamas and you know how your body is still navigating things even for years after pregnancy and birth, like, my body felt good, didn't feel any bladder stuff, not to go into too much information, but it was great. It felt good and wonderful and just set up a fabulous tone for the rest of the day. And we've had so much fun for the rest of the day. Have you picked up on some pieces in this story that I'm telling you? Because this is really then one of the keys of you then seeing, well, how am I choosing the thing that my soul is nudging me to choose? How do I know that I'm doing that? How do I know that, as I talk about constantly, that I'm choosing love and not reacting in fear? What does that feel like even? My students ask about this all the time. How do I know I'm choosing in this way? How do I know I'm picking the soul nudge and on that path? And what am I always responding with? How does it feel? How does it feel? Are you feeling peace and high frequency emotions, love, joy, calm, peace? Or are you feeling other emotions that are lower frequency? Worry, anxiety, fear, doubt. Where are your thoughts? Are you into thinking about it, planning it, trying to figure it out, justify it? Well, how can I make this work? Why is it not going to work? What if it does work? Are you into thinking all about it, or are you in, this is what I'm going to do? You've then decided, you've chosen, and you take action. See, this is the thing, the pattern that most of us, I see constantly in myself, of course, and then in my clients, the amazing women I work with, is the pattern. Oh, you get the idea. That beautiful awareness, that nudge, that intuition, the awareness that your soul has presented to you. Go and do the thing, whatever it is, the idea. And then, before you know it, you're thinking all about it. You're coming up with pros and cons. You're talking yourself into it. You're talking yourself out of it. You're getting into negative emotions and doubt about this thing. Or you're in positive emotions about it, but you're still thinking about it every which way to Sunday, wondering, is this right? Is this wrong? Should I do this? Should I not do this? How can I make it better? What if this goes wrong? The pattern is the idea, and then eventually the brain kicks in into thinking. This is the habit, the brain-based habit. You get into thinking about how to choose about this idea. That's what we've been taught. Think about things before you decide if you're going to do it or not. I didn't think about going for a run or not. I just went and did it. I just chose and acted. I didn't get into thinking. Any thinking about it came later after I had already chose, committed, and started going in forward motion to make it happen. But there's a gap between the idea and when you start thinking about it. An idea comes to you, and have you noticed this? What happens? Do you get excited? Yay, good idea. And even if it's for a split second. And then what happens? You start thinking, should I do it? Should I not do it? What if? What about? And as you go down that rabbit hole, where do you notice your emotions, your feelings, and your frequency go? More often than not, the more you start thinking, the more you start analyzing, well, here comes your programming. Fear. Questioning everything. Doubting, wondering, worrying. Fearful programming starts speaking, and you feel the energy and the frequency and the emotion shift. And this is why you can totally have an idea that your soul has presented to you and made you aware of. That's like, yeah, nudge, nudge. Hey, hey, pay attention to this. Go this way. Intuition comes to you. Yet you think it's not actually the path to do. That it's not really the intuition. You think it's something else. You think it's not the soul path because it doesn't feel good. But what you're missing is that there's this moment in between the idea coming and then wherever you are in your thoughts, where you had your first emotional reaction, your first emotional response, your first feelings to that idea. And that is the key to knowing and being aware of, are you choosing that path of soul and alignment? Are you choosing that high frequency path? If your first emotion is fear, well, that is an automatic response. Your consciousness guiding you and saying, no, that's not the idea for you. If your first response is loving, high frequency emotion, responding to this idea, going for a run, eating lunch out, going to a movie, that new relationship, buying the dress, going shopping, going to the lake, going hiking, staying home, taking a nap, doing more work, whatever it is, if your first emotion is loving and high frequency, this is a fabulous sign that this is where you can choose this idea, and it is a high frequency, very soul aligned, nudging, awareness, intuitive, hey, pay attention, go this way idea from your soul. But the trick is, and this is where we all miss, even me, right? We are going from idea and we don't realize the first emotion, or we see the first emotion go by, but we don't give it credit. What is more important for us in decision making, our emotions or where we get into thinking and our analysis of the idea? And if it's good or bad, pros or cons. We give our thoughts, our analytical thoughts, way more weight than that first emotion we felt. This is how we've been trained. Like, this is society, right? We've been trained to be thinkers. We've not been trained to be feelers. We've not been trained to understand our emotions and what they're telling us. And all of our emotions and our frequency are simply messages from our soul to be encoded and decoded and to guide us into higher fulfillment and peace and love. But we've not been trained in this. We've been trained, think, think, think. Think is the path. Think is the way that you're going to make the best choices and have the best life. Instead of, what is my soul telling me? How am I feeling? How do I decode these emotions and what my soul is telling me? Because truly, my soul knows what is in my best and highest good and knows the best path for me. So we miss this. We miss this. And so, as I'm always talking about with the beautiful women who I work with, pay attention. What is that first response you have? And I get it, because sometimes these ideas come up and it's like, oh, yeah, big life changes. Now, big is relative, right? But we still feel what we feel and experience what we feel, experience what we experience. And yeah, maybe it's, yeah, get married, get a divorce, have a kid, change a job, sell the house, move across country, buy the car, get a medical procedure, how to treat your illness, cancer, this, that, other thing, these ideas, these things that are nudging you and guiding you every day in your life, big and small. And yeah, you get that emotion. It's like, yeah, this feels good. Yeah, that feels right. And then you get scared, right? Or you doubt. There's that fearful programming. There's that analytical mind coming in. And so this is then where it is you being courageous to honor that first emotional response you had, that nudge from your soul, to honor it and honor yourself and be courageous to then still take action and to see the fear for what it is. Even that fear you feel then, like you've had the idea, you felt excited and good about it, and then, you got into some stories and fear around it and doubt. Well, that fear even is still a message from your soul telling you, hey, pay attention here and see this illusion of fear. Pay attention here. You've got programming that is taking you offline. So you're still always being led. But this is where it becomes you calling on your courage. And one of the things that's amazing is even reprogramming yourself for even more courage. Our life calls for courage to go on this path where our emotions are speaking to us of, hey, this is a good, beautiful thing, feeling that nudge and frequency and pull and calling, and then the courage to act on it in spite of then all the thinking brain, the analysis, and any fear that comes up. So yeah, the courage. But you know what really helps with this too is not even allowing yourself to get to the thinking. And this is where I was at this morning of, got the idea and I just acted. I didn't wait to figure out how I was going to do it. I didn't think about it. I didn't talk to anybody else about it. I just acted. I went for a run this morning with my daughter in the stroller. And I just responded and took action and moved. And that set all the balls in motion for then even more guidance from my soul to show me, hey, what to do and how to execute on this. Because I was in that frequency of already moving forward in love and peace around going for a run. I didn't wait for thinking. I was Spontaneous. Pay attention to that word, spontaneous. Now, so many people talk about, oh, spontaneity, like it's this bad thing. They're too spontaneous, right? It's often used in a negative way. But if you are in the pattern and the habit, like most people are, most women are, of the idea, first emotion, and then thinking, and you'd get talked out of that first emotion's pointing the way of, yes, you should do this because it feels good in high frequency. Well, yeah, courage to act, but start acting as soon as you feel that first emotion. That in itself is building momentum, elevating your frequency, and making it easier for you to keep going. It starts to break that habit pattern you're in of then getting into the thinking and the naysaying and the analysis 7 ways to Sunday. So you start to break the habit. You get out of that loop and pattern. It's a pattern interrupt. So yeah, spontaneity. Exercise that muscle. Start becoming more spontaneous in order to choose alignment. Don't wait for the thoughts. Just act, respond, go, move based on the emotional and frequency feedback you're getting from having this idea. And it's that first moment. And that's the thing that's so key to start paying attention to. So I have this idea, and oh, how would I feel? And move with that. Move with that. So build spontaneity into your life more and more. Make that a pattern and habit. And I'm not talking about, being reckless and being crazy and whatever. And all of that's, relative and subject to interpretation anyway. But it's paying attention to that first emotion and then boom, go. Boom, go. That's spontaneity. Because we're just so used to not doing that. And choosing alignment is just like anything else. Moving into the habit of choosing alignment, moving into the habit of choosing high frequency, moving into the habit to respond and execute and act on what your soul is guiding you to. But you can't make that habit. You can't make that part of your identity. You can't make that your normal, your natural, your automatic response, your programming and your consciousness if you allow yourself to stay in the habit and pattern of idea, emotional response, and think, derailed. Can't get there. Thoughts make you heavy, and when you are heavy, you cannot fly. That is a quote from the shaman who I am blessed to be energetically connected with, and was shared with me, of course, through my mentor, who is the shaman's brother-in-law and also a shaman's apprentice. And it's so true. Thoughts make you heavy, and when you are heavy, you cannot. They lower your frequency. So yes, your emotions can guide you into choosing alignment, should you pay attention to it and so choose. So exercise that spontaneous muscle, exercise that courage muscle, and start paying attention to what your first emotional response is. That is your takeaway. That is your takeaway. So I'm going to leave it there, and big hugs to you. Shine bright, shine bright, shine bright. Oh my goodness, because you responding in love and following that, oh my gosh. Expansion for your life and expansion for the world through your frequency, your heart consciousness, through your model, and just watching what you do, inspiring others in the world that this is possible for them too, and they can make those steps. So shine bright, and I'll see you in the next episode.